my second year in college, I was about 20 years old. I was living in an apartment building with a girlfriend of mine. And a lot of the kids didn't work, but I was one of the kids that did work to help pay for school. And during Christmas break, most of the kids that lived in the apartment building went home to their homes for Christmas break. I was there during Christmas break, and my next door neighbor, this guy named Maury, he was working too. And so we were kind of some of the only people that were really around the apartment building during that time, during vacation. And every day, at the end of the day, we'd sort of hang out together and have a few beers, barbecue, something like that, a little hibachi thing. Anyways, one day, Maury came home from work, and we're both hanging out on the patio by the pool, and he said, "You got to see this." And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Well, my parents sent me $400 to help with rent, and I went and I deposited it into the automatic teller machine, the ATM, and when I got my receipt back out, it showed that the bank had credited me for $40,000. And we both had a good laugh about that, and we chatted and talked a lot about like the kinds of fun things that we would do if we had the $40,000. So anyway, so for like a week, every day Maury would come home from work and he would have gone by his bank and pulled out a receipt from his bank and showed me that still the $40,000 was still there, that the bank hadn't corrected their error, and we would laugh again about, you know, what would we do? Still, we did nothing. We were good kids. Anyway, so after about 4 or 5, 6 days of this, him coming back every day and having this receipt with all this money in his bank, we had a few beers. We probably had a few beers too many, and we decided that we would just have to take advantage of this opportunity. So we got out the phone book and we called airlines, and we decided that we were going to go to Hawaii. So we actually booked a reservation, and we, you know, high-fived on it that night before we went to bed that we were actually going to go to Hawaii the next morning. We were planning on leaving the next morning. We made reservations. So the next morning, at probably 6 o'clock in the morning, there's a bang bang on my door, and sure enough, there's Maury there, and he's got a little bag of his things packed, and he's like, "Okay, are you ready to go?" And I'm like, "Are we really going to do this?" And he's like, "Yeah, we're really going to do this." So we got in my old car, which was like a early 1970s avocado green Cutlass Supreme that used to be my dad's. It smelled like cigars. We drove all the way up to LA because that's where our flight was booked out of. We actually got on the airplane and flew to Hawaii. We went to Oahu. We had no money other than what the ATM machine would give us every day, and the maximum allowed withdrawal for each day was $300. So we actually did it. We flew over to Hawaii, and every single day we withdrew the exact amount that we were allowed by the bank, $300, and we stayed there for probably 6 or 7 days. I got a new bathing suit, we rented mopeds, we went to the beach, we stayed in a nice hotel, we ate out every night. We spent the full $300 every day, and for college students that was a lot of money in Hawaii. We drank, we made friends, we bought drinks for people. It was a blast, and we kept waiting every day as we went to the bank for the bank to say, "No, you can't do this anymore. You're in big trouble. Get your butt back here." And plus, no one knew where we were. That was before the day of cell phones or internet, and there was no communication with anyone else that we knew. Nobody knew that we had left California, and nobody knew where we were. So finally, after we'd had our fun, we did get on the plane and we flew back to Los Angeles Airport, and we thought for sure that like the police were going to be waiting for us, that our parents and our friends would be waiting for us. They would have figured us out and we were going to go to jail or something like that, but no such thing happened. We actually wound up getting in the car and driving all the way back to San Diego where we were in college, and nobody missed us. Nobody knew where we had gone. Nobody was the wiser. It was really something. We basically robbed a bank. So that was kind of the end of my involvement with all this money. After a few more days, you know, we went back to work, and all the other students came back to the apartment complex because school was starting again. Maury continued to go on his party spree. He took his roommate and friends, and they went off to Las Vegas, and they spent a lot more money there. He took other trips, spent money, And, you know, I just kind of watched the rest of it from the sidelines because I was back in school and back in work and back to my own routine again. And he never asked me for the money. He said, don't worry about it. You know, if the bank wasn't coming after him, why should he worry about it? Well, about 2 months later, it was, I think, in early March, Maury comes over to my apartment and knocks on the door, and he's holding a letter that he got from the bank, and he's like, oh my gosh, it was full of threats that he'd committed a federal crime and he better put money back in there, and he had spent thousands and thousands of dollars. I luckily had some money saved, and I did pay him back for my part of the trip to Hawaii, and I don't know what he did about paying back the rest of it, but that is my story about basically robbing a bank and going to Hawaii. Anyways, what would you do? What if you had that opportunity? I don't know.